Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Veronica Zuze, your Sergeant at Arms for this meeting, and I'm joining you from Harare, Zimbabwe. Leadership Speaks Club mission is that we provide a supportive and positive learning environment in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our leadership statement: we are a premier club for experienced Toastmasters club to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer will have her virtual hand raised so we can all immediately see who is keeping the time. Please, speakers, take note. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead this meeting, is Toastmaster Holmes, who is our president for Leadership Speak and is an accomplished project manager for the government of Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Toastmaster Holmes as he takes on the visual podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Hello, members and guests. Today we're talking about an important concept when it comes to leadership. All of us join teams or start teams at various times in our professional as well as personal lives. And I'm very sure, fellow leaders here, you definitely remember moments where you felt a little bit awkward starting a meeting or somewhere in the meeting. You started wondering, that person seems to be very hesitant to say something. There seems to be some awkwardness going somewhere. Or maybe it's you, the leader, ourselves. We got into a state of mind where we are more concerned over whether we could say something, and that whether doing something or saying something would impact our presence, or perhaps, if you were new and younger, our career survival when doing something, rather than focusing on whether the team could grow, whether the team could move towards the envisioned state, be it for self-development or for the services, the products and services that are being offered to your clients or your stakeholders. Here we have psychological safety, leadership and psychological safety. Fellow leaders, I call you leaders because you have chosen to be here at Leadership Speak, to be among us today, not just to talk about psychological safety as a distant concept, but to be here and reflect and learn from each other how in our own leadership roles, be it you are a leader with or without a position, you are a leader here, how you can inculcate psychological safety, and through psychological safety, have the benefits in your team, that your team truly can be themselves and grow and serve the best that they can to your clients and your stakeholders. I'd like to take a little moment to speak to the most important people in the meeting today. Yes, the guest. Guest, welcome to Leadership Speak. As President and as Toastmaster of the day, I'm very glad that have you. In a short moment, our PR master will be posting the guest book in the Zoom chat. I invite you, especially if you're here for the first time, to sign the guest book, and we will connect with you towards the end of the meeting. While you're here for the meeting, especially if you're here for the first time, sit back and enjoy and experience how at Leadership Speak, we conduct our meetings, we share as best as we can, each of us, based on our personal and professional experiences, the best practices and the best ways to do things that we have learned over our many years. And toward the end, especially in the post-meeting, if you're available, you are welcome to discuss, to interact with us, and also to share your perspectives. I'd like to begin the meeting and our discussion of the meeting team by welcoming our toast for this meeting. Our toast today is Nelly Jane Galido. Nelly believes that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's also about hearing the ones that others are afraid to say. Our team, Leadership and Psychological Safety, reminds us that when people feel safe to speak, leaders get the clarity they need to lead well. Let's hear Nelly and her toast. Over to you.
Thank you so much, our Toastmaster of the Day, Holmes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Speak. It's really so good to be here with all of you today. As our theme for this meeting, leadership and psychological safety. And I think this is one of the most important conversations we can have as leaders because at the end of the day, leadership is not always about how powerful you are. It's also about how safe people feel around you. So, have you ever typed a message, then deleted it, typed it again, and deleted it once more? Not because that message was wrong, but because you were thinking, how will this be taken? Do I sound annoying? Is this message worth the risk? What will they think of me? What will they feel about me? So you end up not sending that message at all. And that moment, that hesitation, that is psychological safety. And it is the space between having a thought and deciding whether it is safe to express it or not. And when people constantly filter themselves, they don't bring the best ideas. They bring their safest ones, and safe ideas sometimes create lesser growth. So, as leaders, we like to think people are honest with us, but the real questions lies with how do we respond when they are? When someone disagrees, do we get defensive? When someone fails, do we shame them? When someone warns us, do we listen or dismiss? Because people don't learn from our titles, they learn from our reactions. And here at Leadership Speak, we are learning not just how to lead people, but how to hold space for people. To create environments where honesty is normal, where mistakes are learning moments, and where questions are welcomed, not feared. So here is my invitation for all of us today. You need to be a leader who makes courage easier. Be the leader who listens before reacting, and be the leader who says, "Thank you for telling me," even when it's uncomfortable. Because when people feel safe, they grow. When they grow, the team grows. And when team grows, leadership becomes meaningful. And so, fellow Toastmasters and our honorable guests, please unmute your microphones, turn on your cameras, and raise your glasses. Here is to safety, trust, growth. Here is to leadership and psychological safety.
Leadership.
Here's
Leadership
to
and
Leadership and
Psychological
psychological safety.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Nelly. Sound, let's mute that. Okay. Next, we'd like to introduce our meeting support roles today. First on the line is our timer, Jyoti Thomas. Jyoti is a trainer and a social entrepreneur. She sees psychological safety as the foundation for growth and leadership. When people feel safe to speak, feel, and learn, Jyoti believes, they rise. So does the entire community. Over to you, Jyoti. Let us know the role of the timer.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good day, fellow Toastmasters. I'm your timer for today's meeting. I will time each speaker according to the agenda and signal using the virtual background colors: green, yellow, red, as you see in the agenda. After each segment, I will post the timing when called upon on the chat box. Thank you, and over to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jyoti. Next is our grammarian, DTM Jennifer Gosh. Jennifer is a past Region 8 advisor and is Medley Distinguished District Director with over 18 years in Toastmasters. Jennifer values the theme of psychological safety and believes it builds trust and respect when teams work together. Over to you, Jennifer.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guest, good day. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take notes of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. Here you go. For today's meeting, the word is candor, which means honest and direct communication, which is essential for questioning, admitting mistakes, and surfacing concerns early. An example of using the word is, my mentor shared his point of views politely, but with utmost candor. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will also post it on the chat box. I will share the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting to do so. I will also report on the usage of the word of the day. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jennifer. We're about to move into our educational speech. where we will learn in depth about psychological safety. Before that, members and guests who are here, you had heard my introduction as well as the toast introduction of psychological safety. I would like to encourage you to have your pens, your papers, or your notepads ready and take down some of your past experiences of psychological safety. And as you listen to the educational speaker, also reflect if in the future something could be different in the teams that have you. And I also encourage you to share some of these reflections as we go through the educational speech, or if anything in the meeting inspires you. Before I call on the educational speaker formally, I'd like to speak to the most important people in our meeting room, the guest. Guest, welcome to Leadership Speak. In a short moment, the guest book, the link to the guest book will be posted in the Zoom meeting chat. I encourage all guests, especially if you're here for the very first time, to sign in the guest book. Let us know what brought you here. Let us know something interesting about you. And we'll connect later. And I look forward to connecting and discussing with you later, perhaps post-meeting, where you can share some of your experiences and your learning points of psychological safety, leadership, and psychological safety. I'd like to call upon the educational speaker, Youselee Joseph, as well as her evaluator, Ghada slash to be spotlighted. And I also like to hand a time over to Ghada to introduce the project of Youselee.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Holmes. Youseelee's project today is Prepare to Speak Professionally. For Youselee, the purpose of the project is for her to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. Youselee completing the project, she will be building the skills necessary to engage the audience in a longer speech. Best of luck to you, Youselee. Youselee, back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, DTM Ghada. Youselee. Youselee currently serves as an area director in District 86. Professionally, she's an economist, project manager, and a customer service specialist, bringing a strong people and systems perspective to her work. In today's presentation, Youselee will share a simple and important message. Everyone matters. Members and guests, are you ready? Over to you, Youselee.
On April 26, 1986, the worst radioactive disaster in the century happened in Chernobyl, Ukraine, causing the death of 7 people the same day. 20 more few months later, and more than 100 people were seriously injured. More than 1,000 were relocated. Many other countries in Europe were affected by the spread of radioactive substance. The health consequences were disastrous. Thousands of people living in the immediate area have developed thyroid cancer years later. The economic cost, including the loss of agricultural production, industrial infrastructures, decontamination and cleaning, relocation of people, medical care, scientific researches, and many other expenses is estimated over $500 billion. It was, of course, a terrible disaster. Not only for people who were working there, but for thousands, billions of people. According to one of the researches presented at the conference of the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna in February 2016, one of the direct causes and roots of the Chernobyl catastrophe form a system of negative condition, including psychological safety. The environment discouraged open discussion about problems by reprisal, threat for expressing opposing ideas. Mistakes were severely punished, and so on. So fear paved the way for disaster. In contrary to this kind of environment, the Toastmaster of the day, in the introduction of the Toastmaster of the day and the toast, we have heard several definitions of psychological safety. It's when everyone feels safe to take interpersonal risk, to speak up, to disagree openly, and to raise concern without fear of negative impact. Toastmasters, for today's meeting, I bring also another example for when we apply psychological safety. My second example is about a businessman, Paul O'Neill. He was the CEO of the Aluminum Company of America. When he got the job in 1987, at his first speech in front of all the stakeholders of the company, he had one sentence. I want to talk about worker safety. Many people were asking several questions about the company itself, financial aspect, the growth of the company, but he refused to talk about financial return or dividend profit, as he was overwhelmed by questions. He replied, I'm not certain you heard me. If you want to understand how the company is doing, you need to talk about our workplace safety. Then he clearly stated that he wanted 0 injuries in the company. His strategies, he encouraged everyone to speak, to raise concern. They could contact him directly without fear of reprisal for oneself or for others. This was the setting, the stage for psychological safety across the company. So employees become satisfied, become happy for working there. And so did their productivity, and therefore the company's performance. Under his leadership, the market value increased from 3 billion to 27 billions. The difference? Psychological safety. It is clear that environment shapes the way that we act. As human, if we feel fear, we act in one way. If we feel happy and comfortable, we will certainly act in another way. And whether it is positive or negative, those actions will have consequences. What happened at Chernobyl and at the Aluminum Company of America are things that we can read on the internet, on several articles, on scholars' researches. But what we are living in our life, in real life, every day, also matters, so that we can be, as leader, be careful on what we are giving and what we are receiving in terms of psychological safety. For me, throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to experience different work experience. The one that I want to share with you today is what I call my first love as a job. After the university, I went to work at a bank. It was my first job. I had zero work experience, and I was young. And 80% of my co-workers were like me, young and zero work experience. For the first day at work, the branch manager, her name, Miss Altagracia. Miss Altagracia came and he told all of us, what I want for you is trust and respect, courtesy and excellence. How can I do that? How can we do that? We didn't know nothing. There's things studied not at the job, they have studied at home. From our physical appearance when coming to work, to the time we are saying goodbye at the end of the day. No, it's like we feel the pressure. No sweating on the face. That was hard. We had to embody discipline because the slightest mistake could cost millions to us, to the bank, to the customer. It was the work environment with the most written and unwritten rules I've ever experience. Until now. I don't even need to talk about the issue with unhappy customer. Those who are working with customer, you can know when someone is not happy with the service. Have you ever experienced such work environment? Raise your hand. I want to see you. Ah, I see EJ. You are laughing because, yes, I knew that thing. That was my case. At the same time, if I had to summarize my experience at this time when I was working at this bank, it can be only one sentence. When I grow up, I want to become a leader like Mrs. Altagracia. Why? Because every day I went to work with a positive feeling. Every morning in the cafeteria, we cheerfully greeted everyone. And in the restroom, we knew that we had to apply the last brush on our face, and with joy. Every weekly staff meeting were lively. Everyone had a place, a say, and value, from the branch manager to the janitor. What was done to create this feeling of security? As I told you before, Madame Altagracia expected Holmes. What did Madame Altagracia expect from us? Oh, you were not listening. I said she expected trust, respect, courtesy, and excellence. To do that, the vertical and horizontal relationship were based, of course, on trust and respect, fostering a mutual sense of esteem and confidence among all of us as colleagues, as co-workers. At the bank, they said, we are collaborating with each other. This collaborative approach allows everyone to feel comfortable to express their fears, their ideas. We were informed and trained on norms for how failure and mistake are handled. I remember my colleague, Johnny, once sending $10,000 abroad for a customer. As there was an issue in the system, he couldn't get the money from the customer's account. The customer noticed that right away. What he did, he went to another branch, he withdrew all his money in less than 10 minutes after the event. My colleague would then have to reimburse the bank and eventually go to jail for fraud. Immediately, everyone committed to gathering as much information as possible about this customer, calling the foreign financial institution to block any withdrawals, and everything, and the problem was solved in less than 1 hour. No shame, no prison. Afterwards, we brainstormed about the lesson learned. It was one person mistake, and we all learned about international banking fraud, the importance of vigilance when working in finance, in banking, and the risk of instant transfer, because when you send the money goes. There's any other way you can get it back, especially for when this money goes to another country. And related issues as well. We sat down after work, we talk about the event, we learned, then we started to tease the guy who almost lost his skin for 10,000. This first principle led to the second one, courtesy and team cohesion. When Johnny realized the client account was empty, he panicked. He started crying. He was sweating. It was like, well, I found $10,000. It was not $10,000 in our currency. It was $10,000 in US money. So it will be even 100,000 in our currency. But he had the support needed to find a proper solution. When I wanted the same way, when I wanted to represent the branch in a national competition, no one told me that I didn't have enough experience. Madame Altagracia had one question for me. Youselee, would you like to win? I said, of course, ma'am. She said to my other colleague, so you heard her, she wants to win. They said, yes, ma'am, so she will. So I did. Because everyone came together to help me make this dream come true. And then we had the third one, requirement of Madame Altagracia, excellence. Both psychological safety and excellence require high performance. Without safety, team may appear, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, but remaining silent could have a huge impact. Without standards, team may feel comfortable, but lack of vigor. Spending time in a supportive environment reduces stress, lower blood pressure, and when the mind is at peace, we become more involved in what we are doing. We improved. And before we know it, everything blossoms. And yet, in a financial institution, we were 100% responsible for things that happen through our profile. We were a single group working hand on hand, knowing we had each other when our knees gave away. Mrs. Altagracia was my O'Neill. During my experience at this bank, both use tools that can summarize in few points. The first one, committing to a common goal and make sure everyone has a place, a say, and value. Open communication. My understanding of that is, as leader, we are like everyone else. We have two eyes. You see, I'm looking at you, I cannot see what is happening in my back. So when we look north, we need someone who can look south. Another one who can look in the east side. And yet, another two pair of eyes to look in the west side. This is how we will all learn and we will grow. And the third point is accountability and transparency. An error is not the pair, cannot be paired with reprisal, threat. It can be paired with learning. We are learning from one another's mistake. Another point is consistency in keeping the standards. What I observe that the rules at the bank became our ally, and they help us to become better. There are many other aspects to consider regarding psychological safety. And motivation is something that I cherish, especially in organizations like Toastmasters International, non-profit organization. That's why today I also have a word for those, not only those who are, for those who are leading, our leaders at the club as well. I want to tell them that I am grateful for the work that they are doing. Their psychological safety matters as well as ours, because all of us count. The environment is for all of us. So thank you, Holmes. To the executive committee, thank you as well. Your safety matters. And it can be good to be vulnerable, open, make mistakes, and learn from them, and be a human, simply a human. In my case, I still want to be a leader like Mrs. Altagracia when I grow up. What about you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day?
Thank you, Youselee. And yes, I remember respect, courtesy, and excellence. Irfan, is it okay if you stop sharing for a while first? Thank you, Irfan. And thank you, Youselee. Members and guests, I do want to affirm one of the key things that Youselee has said, which is in Toastmasters, whether it is this particular club or any other club, but at the minimum, I can say for this club as president, we encourage, and we appreciate when individual members and guests, our most important people in the room, if you have any feedback for how the club is being run, any questions on how the club is being run, how members could help each other to grow toward our vision at Leadership Speak. It is about becoming a better self-directed leaders. Each of us will have our own goals, dreams, and aspirations, and we will work toward that step by step. Timelines may change because of circumstances, especially personal challenges. And it's helpful that I'm aware many members in this club do have some form of mentoring, coaching, or accountability partners where they can talk about their personal struggles together with their goals. And from there, from a professional, respectful partnership that strives for excellence together. And whether it is at this club or any other club, I wish for all fellow Toastmasters here, or if you are a guest to Toastmasters, that your experience with Toastmasters in your community will have psychological safety, as we have been talking about in this meeting. Once again, thank you so much, Youselee. Guests, in a short moment, the guest book will be posted in the meeting chat. If you have yet to have the opportunity to sign in the guest book, and especially if you are here for the first time, I strongly encourage you to sign in the guest book. Let us know what brought you here to Leadership Speak. Let us know some of your comments and some of your feedback, and may we connect toward the end of the meeting or even have a short discussion post-meeting. The meeting now will proceed on to our project speeches. At Leadership Speak, our typical meeting is that we will have a 20 minutes educational speech, followed by roughly 4 to 5 project speeches. And I would like to invite our first speaker, Irfan Farooqui, as well as his evaluator, Renan Ursula. Renan, will you be able to introduce to us what is Irfan's project?
Okay, thank you, TMOD Holmes. The speaker or the first speaker, Irfan Farooqui, he will deliver a speech under Motivational Strategies, Level 3, Speech Project number 4, using presentation software in a 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose of the speech project is to introduce or review basic presentation software strategies for creating and using slides to support or enhance a speech. When we had a connect, Irfan advised me that there will be a twist in his speech. Irfan will first talk about quantum physics, then will tell the audience to ignore the topic, and then he will explain how he used IT and software to prepare a speech. So let us listen to Irfan. Back to you, TMO.
Thank you so much, Renan. Our speaker, DTM Irfan Farooqui, describes himself as a passionate learner, loves stories, and life philosophy. It's a short introduction, which makes me feel I have to add one more sentence. He is someone where all of us can also learn about the little nuances of life by listening to him and his stories. Over to you, DTM Irfan.
Thank you very much. Let me start by sharing my PowerPoint first. Ladies and gentlemen, quantum gravity is my topic for today's speech. What is quantum gravity? And the subtitle says that it unifies the universe laws. The most important thing in this speech or in my presentation on this topic is understanding the importance of unification of general relativity and quantum mechanics. Fellow Toastmasters, these are two different things, absolutely different things. And how they are different, let me share it with you. One of the most important things here is the mathematical incompatibility. Because the quantum physics, quantum mechanics talks about the physical at molecular level, very small, tiny level. Whereas theory of relativity talks about larger bodies, Earth, Moon, Sun, the issue of gravity between these different massive bodies in the world, appearing at a great distance from one another. How can we study the great distances using the molecular level physical concepts? These two absolutely 180-degree approaches, how can they be unified? So there is a need of unification of these two things. And for that, in physics, to study these topics, there are four basic theories. The string theory, the loop quantum gravity theory, the holographic principle, and the last is quantum entanglement and space-time structure. Let me just hold on here for a few seconds and let me ask you, how many of you understand what is quantum physics? Somehow, all of you who understand, can you please raise your hands so that I see how many of you understand the topic of quantum physics? I think I just see only two hands here, which means most of you. So I see a third hand now also. Well, that explains that most of you do not understand what is quantum physics, and you all are like me. Because I also don't understand, absolutely no knowledge what is quantum physics. I studied the topic of physics some 50 years ago when I was in school. And what to talk about quantum physics? I don't even understand physics. I am a management person, no knowledge at all. And today's session, I would also be thinking, why don't you ask me, what are you talking about quantum physics in a management club, leadership club? And why don't you ask me, your topic is presenting a software, using a software, and you're diverting from software towards quantum physics? Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to tell you the whole speech that I delivered to you so far, all those a few slides, they were not made by me. They were made by artificial intelligence. What happened was that I just went to AI and I said, I want to make a presentation on the topic of quantum physics. So I asked, let me share once again here how it happened. I asked my presentation, yeah, here. I asked AI, it's giving some problem here. Yeah, here. So what happened that I asked AI, I used ChatGPT and I asked, what is the most difficult topic in PowerPoint presentations? Sorry, I asked, what is the most difficult? I'm getting stuck up because presentation is not looking like what I want to show. Let me stop it again and let me reshare my PowerPoint from here. Yeah, share again. This one on this side. Yes, now I'm back. Sorry. What happened? Look here, I'm not presenting the whole philosophy here. These were the slides. What happened is that I asked ChatGPT that I want to understand what are the current studies and theories in quantum physics. ChatGPT gave this answer that is available at your screen. At number 4 was quantum gravity and unification efforts. And I asked, what is the topic? It gave the details over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, what is it? So I just copied it from here. And I went to a software called Gamma software, which is for preparation of presentations. This is Gamma software. Over here is generate new AI. So I pressed generate new AI, and with this, I got this option. There are 4 options here in this software. Second option is post in text. I selected yes, this is better for me. I want to do post in. I have copied something from here. I'll post it here, and then I'll ask this Gamma to convert my knowledge into PowerPoint slides. This is how it happened. Presentation. I went into presentation area. This is what I copied from ChatGPT, and this is here I continue editing presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's world, getting technical knowledge is not important at all. All softwares are available that provide you with the knowledge, and that is what I did here. PowerPoint and AI. The important thing is how well you understand and how you understand the speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, not take the speaker on the face value. Maybe the speaker is like me, copied everything from AI, used software, and presented it to you. Go yourself and learn more by yourself. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Irfan. I do want to reinforce that what Irfan said is also very well aligned with what we do at Leadership Speak. Technology is an enabler. As fellow leaders, we do need to know what technologies are around and how these technologies can better serve us and better serve the stakeholders we are serving. Thank you so much. Our second speaker is Guerdah Almojarkish, and I would like to invite her evaluator, Sonia Met, to introduce her project. Sonia, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Holmes. Ghada's project is a part of the Pathway Presentation Mastery, Level 1. Project 4, called Evaluation and Feedback, and this is the first speech out of 2. The purpose of today's speech is to present her speech, receive feedback, and apply that feedback received for speech number 2. When I connected with Ghada, she asked me to focus on her call to action, flow of content, clarity, and whether the opening effectively captured the attention of the audience. All the best to you, Ghada, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Ghada's journey began with mistakes, misunderstandings, and uncomfortable silence. Through those experiences, she learned that psychological safety is not a soft skill. It is a leadership responsibility. Let us hear from our second speaker, Ghada Almojarkish, who has this experience in life. Over to you, Ghada.
Thank you, Holmes. Finally, everything is good. Everyone seems calm and happy. No complaints, no questions, no debates, no disagreements. We must be in a safe environment. So lean back and rest and have a little smile. That's what a leader once imagined. Without confronting the uncomfortable truth. What if this silence is not peace, it is fear? What if it is not loyalty, it's a self-protection? What if no news is not or doesn't mean alignment, but it means no one dares to speak with candor? That's why no news is not good news. I've spent years of learning leadership, trained how to motivate people, how to inspire them, how to communicate clearly, and how to be the ideal leader. But still, I get shocked by responses and reactions I didn't expect, shocked by attitudes I didn't plan for. Why? Because leadership is not a checklist, and people are not machines or fixed states. They carry their internal battles, insecurities, fears, concerns. They face external pressures, family crisis, financial problems. And even leaders, they operate under pressure, confusion, and blind spots. And this is where psychological safety come in as a shared belief that it is safe to speak up and appreciate the speaking with candor without criticizing or judging. Without this safe environment, people don't challenge ideas, don't admit mistakes. And when the leader gets comforted by silence, the real problems go underground. Let me paint you a scenario. You spend time explaining the plan, the deadlines, the expectations, and also you answer the questions. Great, everyone got it? Yeah. Then someone misses a deadline. Someone executes incorrectly. Someone said, I misunderstood. The first instinct, reactions as leader, frustration. We might questioning their intentions. Misunderstanding is rarely disobedience. It's a feedback. It's a signal that the message wasn't clear enough or the environment wasn't safe enough to say, I disagree, I'm concerned, I think this won't work, without fear of being embarrassed or ignored or labeled difficult. A leader who welcomes confusions turns mistakes into talent. And remember, silence delays truth, and the delayed truth is expensive.
Remember that silence after communication is a leadership red flag. So no news is not a good news. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Ghada, for your message. I'd like to move on to our third speaker for today, Elena Constantinou. I'd like to have her evaluator, Robin Stone, introduce Elena's project.
Certainly. Elena will be speaking from the persuasive influence path, and the project will be from the level 1, and it is to speak with purpose. And so the purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and present a well-organized speech on the topic of her choice. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Robin. Elena spent over 20 years in banking, working in an environment where she often felt unsafe and unhappy. Despite professional success and high remuneration, life's circumstances led to a career change, and she is now an educator and team coach, living her life's purpose with intention and authenticity. Let us hear from Elena. Over to you.
I once loved this blazer. Structured shoulders, serious color, even though it has very little personality by itself. I always spiced it up with colorful scarves, large pins, silky shirts inside. I wore it to work at a bank where the dress code was professional. People took themselves very seriously and spoke in acronyms. For example, let's address the KPIs at the next AGM and seek a higher ROI. I have always loved numbers and data, yet I have not always enjoyed dealing with lending money and then trying to collect it back. I had also trained in large investment banks in the US, and working in a small commercial bank in Cyprus was a significant culture shock for me. People were just different. They had a more risk-averse perspective, much less desire to be creative, and a lot more fear of failure. I thought if I just blended it enough, laughed at the right jokes, nodded at the right meetings, I'd eventually feel like I belonged. But I never did really. Yet I survived just fine. I had a managerial position, a very good salary, and the work was frequently satisfying, despite the relationships with colleagues being somewhat tricky. Me being very honest, very direct, and very transparent was frequently received as a threat from my colleagues. And they made them feel that they needed to protect themselves from my tendency to question, reveal mistakes with candor, and seek feedback for improvement. If anyone sees themselves in this story, please react with any effect. So one afternoon, my boss asked me to step into a meeting room. We sat down. There was a pause. Then came the feedback, which culminated in a sentence which scarred me for life. You don't really fit in. The sentence was dropped like a paperweight into my stomach. And that phrase, you don't fit in, followed me home sat next to me at dinner, and he climbed into bed with me at night. It really made me second guess everything, my ideas, my energy, my candor, even my laugh. Was I really so misaligned at work? This was part of what I later learned was a silent firing process in the bank's downsizing effort. So I was not told I had made any mistake, but I was also not given a clear path forward, just a slow drip of doubt, feedback without direction. So needless to say, I began feeling very unsafe and unhappy. There I was, the good student, the hardworking employee, the perfectionist mother and wife, being told that you don't fit in. I found myself in a workplace where I had to stop being myself because every time I was myself, it felt like it was proof that I didn't belong. And trying to shrink myself was exhausting. And no matter how much I tried, I could not turn into someone I was not without breaking something important in here. Again, if you see yourself in this story, react with any effect. There was no way for me to continue being part of that environment. I could not dim myself. I could not swap curiosity for compliance. The bank didn't feel psychologically safe. And one day I asked myself, what if the problem isn't that I don't fit in, but that I'm in the wrong place? And that realization changed everything. Leaving the bank after 20 years was a step into the unknown. And in that unknown, something surprising happened. I found myself drawn to education, to spaces where questions were welcomed, not just tolerated, where my energy wasn't a liability, it was an asset. And I became an educator. And suddenly the things that made me not fit in the bank became the very things that people valued. My curiosity turned into lessons, and my enthusiasm turned into motivation for others. And my habit of asking why helped my students grow. And I found my purpose, not because I finally learned how to fit in, because I stopped trying to. Sometimes the places that reject us are doing us a favor. They're pointing us towards somewhere better. So if you're ever been told you don't fit in, at school, at work, or anywhere, hear this. It might not be a verdict, it might be a direction. Not fitting in can be uncomfortable. It can hurt, and it has hurt me deeply at first, but it was also the nudge that pushes us towards a life that actually fits. A life where we don't have to edit ourselves to belong, a life where our little quirks are strengths, our voice matters, our purpose is real. Well, you can keep the blazer if you want or don't. Either way, don't waste your life trying to squeeze into spaces that were never designed for who you are. Sometimes not fitting in isn't a flaw. It's the beginning of a new space and a new opportunity to thrive. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Elena. Members and guests, we have come to the end of our project speakers for today. As I listened, and I hope you have too, that you have also, each speaker has their particular perspective on what is leadership, what is psychological safety, and the various ways we can supplement our own understanding with their experience and their tips for leadership. Be it how their stories reminds us of our previous experience, which may be painful, or how the little tips, the little encouraging moments from the stories, what to focus on. Perhaps respect, perhaps going to courtesy and excellence. I hope you have taken those down, and all these little things will be helpful as you look ahead in your leadership journey. I'd like to take a moment to speak to the guest, our most important people in the meeting. In a short moment, the PR Master will be posting the guest book again. If you're here for the first time, I highly encourage you to sign up the guest book. Let us know how you find out the leadership speak, and there's something interesting about you. We'll have a conversation later. And guests, as you later on listen to the evaluations, what I hope you will also realize is that in leadership speak, we do our role assignment sometimes multiple weeks in advance. And that has an effect on what you're experiencing right now. As the evaluators have introduced the speakers, there was a sense of connection. There was a sense of request of what to speak. One moment. I realize my camera may be stuck. I'll just continue speaking. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you even though you're frozen.
And in this process, what we are trying to do at Leadership Speak is also to push ourselves to be the very best of what we can do at Toastmasters. Because it is when each of us, individual of us, put in our very best that the entire design and system of Toastmasters International can then truly benefit us, and we can get the most out of our time here, out of our network here, and out of the systems that from Toastmasters International all the way to the district, all the way to the club executive level, we have prepared and readied for individual members to benefit from. Hence, to all members as well as guests, especially our guests, as you consider Leadership Speak, or if you're here at Toastmasters for the very first time, I encourage you to look at Toastmasters Club, especially Leadership Speak, as how it is a club that can help you to have experiential learning, where the more you put in, the more you can benefit and the more you can serve. I'd like to move the meeting to the general evaluator, to the evaluation section led by the general evaluator. Our general evaluator is distinguished Toastmaster Guerdah Felix. DTM Guerdah has been in Toastmasters since 2014. She is a connector and coach, and a pathways advocate who leads with honesty and care. I must add, she's the pathways guru here at Leadership Speak. Members, please reach out to her for questions. Guerdah also serves on the District 86 IDEA Committee, which supports inclusion and growth in our district. Guerdah believes in psychological safety, where members feel safe to be themselves. And when people feel safe, this is when their passion comes alive. Over to our GE, DTM, Guerdah.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcomed guests. As the General Evaluator, I will oversee the evaluation segment of our meeting, where our keen sense of observation and listening skills will be demonstrated. This segment is in 3 parts. First, I will call on a team of seasoned evaluators to evaluate our speakers. Then I will call on the role players for their reports. And lastly, I will share my overall assessment of the meeting. Let's begin. We've had many speakers, and now it is time for them to be evaluated. We will start today with Hannah Schmidt, who is evaluating the toast delivered by Nelly Jane Galido. Hannah is a traveling Toastmaster world via Zoom. She has adopted the name #ZoomHopper. Please help me welcome Hannah Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmasters, and especially Nelly Jane. It is with candor that I present my evaluation, because leadership and psychological safety, they go hand in hand. It encourages trust, openness, and respect, creating a safe environment where people feel, or members feel, comfortable being honest without fearing rejection. Nelly Jane, what is my takeaway? You delivered a well-prepared toast that fit the meeting theme perfectly in both mood and language. Your toast was clear, well-structured, and thoughtfully organized, with a strong opening, body, and conclusion, as with every speech. And standing to deliver the toast emphasized its importance and captured my audience's and the audience's attention. Your warm, strong smile, eye contact, effectively vocal variety created immediate sense of connection. Your reference to leadership speak as a space that encourages openness and learning reinforced the essence of psychological safety, where we as members feel safe to be honest and human. I've got one recommendation for you. To be able to qualify for the recognition to complete these levels of social speeches, I advise you to use the full 3 minutes for your toast. And raising a glass is the physical act that connects the speaker with the audience immediately. At Leadership Speak, candor exists and psychological safety grows. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah. Well delivered evaluation with such candor and poise. Thank you. I would like, if it is possible for us, before moving on, to call on the poll. Can we have the poll for the speakers, please?
Thank you so much, Madam G.
You're very welcome, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Let me know when the poll is completed, please.
May I request all to poll? It's only 60% I've received so far.
Thank you. A poll is important. The reason being is that it helps our speaker, and also it tells them how much we appreciated them. So I encourage everyone to participate in the poll so that we know after, when it comes time, who is the best effort speaker. That's how we grow. Thank you.
Poll is closed. Let's proceed. Thank you so much, Madam G.
Thank you. And now I'm going to call on Nelly Jane. Nelly Jane just had an evaluation, and now she is going to be evaluating the role played by our Toastmaster of the Day, Holmes, Teng. For Nelly Jane, leadership is not about having all the answers. It is about hearing the ones that others are afraid to say. The theme reminds us that when people feel safe to speak, leaders get the clarity they need to lead well. Please help me welcome Nelly Jane Galido.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Holmes, today you reminded me that leadership isn't just about running the meeting. It's also about creating a space where everyone feels safe, heard, and ready to shine. So leadership, paired with psychological safety, means that people can step up without fear, speak freely, and fully engage. And Holmes, you made that happen today. Our Toastmaster of the Day, Holmes Teng. First off, preparation with purpose. You created the WhatsApp group exactly 2 weeks ago, right on time, and perfectly in line with the club requirements. And it's kind of telling me loud and clear, Holmes is ready. This meeting is in safe hands. Well done. You checked in with every role taker, made sure everyone felt included, kept the team connected, and even with the last minute role changes and speaker swaps, you keep everyone informed and reassured. And that's psychological safety in action. People felt confident, included, and ready to contribute. And when the meeting started, you were calm, present, and welcoming. You made our guests feel valued by walking them through the guest book and promising personal connections later, showing that everyone's presence is mattered. You also introduced the theme smoothly, giving us a lens to understand the meeting and invited us to reflect. Your speaker introductions and transitions after each speakers were brilliant, and yes, even when your video froze, we all know that Zoom can be sometimes dramatic. You handle it like a pro. You're calm, composed, moving forward without missing a single beat. And of course, your signature pregnant pause. The perfect pause that lets your words land, giving everyone a moment to think, to feel, and engage. So, Holmes, keep leading with candor, heart, and presence. You showed us that when a leader creates psychological safety, the team thrives, the ideas flows, and meeting feels effortless. So today, let's remember, leadership isn't about guiding. It's also about creating a safe space for others to shine. So prepare, connect, make people feel valued, just like Holmes. You'll turn any meeting into an experience people will always remember. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Nelly Jane, for your beautiful evaluation. I am going to say one thing because I don't think I heard any improvement for Holmes. So I believe today, with your evaluation, Holmes is simply perfect. But we all know that, especially in leadership speak, we need at least one thing to grow. So that's what I will encourage everybody to find one grow point for everyone. Thank you. I like the way you delivered your evaluation. It was with poise. Your voice is like a singing melody. I love that. And it invites us to listen to you, Nelly Jane. Thank you. And now calling on the evaluator who is going to evaluate our leadership education speaker, Ghada Schla. Ghada enjoys her daily reflection time. For Ghada, true leaders are open to feedback and receptive to others' perspective. Please help me welcome Ghada Schla.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Guerdah. Youselee, you wanted to grow up to be a leader like the branch manager of your first place you worked at, Miss Altagracia, who expected respect, trust, curiosity, and excellence from the minute you are at home, arriving to work, and to the last minute you leave work. And you did. You became actually that leader, Candor leader. And you said it at the end. If it is for nothing, because you're a member of Leadership Speak. And you describe how candor and how psychologically safe to feel in a club like Leadership Speak. You started with the president and to every member. You also said, we have eyes. We look everywhere. And when we can't see behind us, we have other members with their eyes looking at that spot. You explained the importance of to be psychologically safe in any environment in a very subtle way, and was powerful with a powerful example. Mr. O'Neill, a CEO of company, aluminum company, who was able to turn the profit of his company from 4 million to 27 million by saying a speech in the beginning that we need to talk about safety. When everybody disagreed with him, he said, listen to me. Safety in any environment, in any place we are in, is the most important thing. To be open, for people to feel safe. And you explained it in a very subtle and a very engaging way. I have a few comments for you. You went from one disaster experience to so many experiences and examples. Maybe you could have just settled with one or two the most and expanded your explanation on how the advantage, your personal advantage of being in a safe, candor environment. Your eyes were not always looking at the audience. It seems like you were shifting sideways. Maybe you were reading. However, in summary, you were very clear. You spoke from the heart. You you started with, I want to be as a Candor leader, as my boss, and you proved that you are, with few adjustment, with eye contact, and not rushing at the end. It would be a wonderful, long, entertaining, valuable, informative speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Gilda. Today I sensed you to be a little bit unsure. Not unsure of what you have to say, but perhaps of how to say it. And I totally understand that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I saw that the time you started with a recommendation when the light was already red. Therefore, you were tentative in your delivery today. You had great glow points. There were many, and you were tentative in your glow points. That's something perhaps to work on. And I will also ask that everyone pay attention to this, because sometimes we want to say something, but perhaps we don't know how to say it. Therefore, it stops us, because the way it looks is that our mouth wants to speak, but our head is trying to stop it. So be mindful of that. Thank you for your evaluation. And now calling on Renan Ercila, who is evaluating our first speaker, Irfan Farooqui. Renan is a Toastmaster for 5 years and is from the Philippines. He is also an HR manager with 16 years experience in local and multinational companies. For Renan, leaders should build psychological safety by creating an environment where people feel trusted, heard, and safe to speak up without fear. Please help me welcome Renan Ercila.
Thank you, General Evaluator. I'm going to evaluate Irfan's speech from what I heard first until the end, including what I saw, as I missed the 2 parts, the 2 minutes part of the speech. Irfan, you look presentable and professional during your speech, which enhance your credibility and fit perfectly with your topic about using technology and presentation tools. You also connected well with the audience by asking questions and responding to the reactions in the chat, the emoticons. Those interactions made the room feel involved despite the brief time frame, 5 to 7. The reactions and the comments were really acknowledged by you. Another strong point was explaining how you came up with your speech topic, sharing that it was generated using ChatGPT. This was both transparent and relevant because it demonstrated exactly how technology supported your preparation, aligning directly with the project's purpose. I believe it would strengthen your presentation even more if you may want to consider these 2 tips or suggestions. There were slight technical issues when continued sharing your slides, and a quick run through or checking the setup before the meeting or a day or 2 days before the meeting could help minimize those small disruptions. Second, the fonts on your slides were a bit small, making some parts difficult to read. For better visibility, if you may want to reduce the amount of text, use larger or bold fonts. Highlight only the keywords or rely more on visuals instead of full sentences. This adjustment will make your slides clearer and more impactful to the audience. In summary, you delivered a creative and engaging speech that clearly demonstrated how technology can enhance our presentation. You closed with practical takeaways that reminded us how useful technology can be in Toastmasters. Overall, it was a you look confident, smart, and you executed well your speech. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Renan. Thank you, first of all, for being truthful. As you shared that with us. Thank you for that. Your evaluation was well delivered. You had grow points and also glow points. For me, what I would like to hear more is different tempo or you tone as you deliver. So as you speak, I am almost certain, especially when you speak in your own language, that the tempo might be different. And I will speak on this a little bit later, because that's something that I want everybody to pay attention to. So although I'm talking to Renan, it's really important, especially for people whose English is their second language, or for people who have other languages other than English. So when you are listening to your speakers who speak a different language, please pay attention to their tempo, to their intonation, especially in the English language. And how can you help them when you do that? You can help them by asking them, when you meet with them, to speak to you in their own language. That way you will learn to differentiate how they speak naturally versus how they want to sound when they speak English. This is very important. Please pay attention. Okay, I want you to really pay attention to this. So I'm not talking to you only, Renan. I'm talking to everyone in that sense. And I want to, again, thank you for being truthful and thank you for your evaluation. And now I am going to call on the second evaluator, Sonia. Sonia is evaluating our second speaker, Ghada Almojarkish. Sonia has been a Toastmaster for 3 years and is immensely proud to be part of the greatest Toastmaster club ever. I'm sure she's speaking about leadership speak, of course. I'm reading what she said. For Sonia, psychological safety matters to her because she has witnessed that leadership fails when questions are discouraged. Please help me welcome Sonia and Sonia.
Thank you so much, Gherdah. And another reason why I love this club so much is because I really feel safe to make mistakes and receive positive feedback. Ghada, your speech was beautifully presented and the takeaways was clear. When there is no feedback to the leadership in various situations, it indicates that it's obviously not a safe environment to speak, and a red flag. Your title was very fitting, meaning no response is not a good response. You first introduced your speech and spoke about your own purpose, that you always had a goal is uplifting others, ensuring a safe environment. And then you gave also examples from leaders when they receive questions or negative feedback, that they feel frustrated, or that individuals might be labeled as difficult. And of course, these are, we as individuals, we want to avoid those responses from leadership under all circumstances, because they feel very, very uncomfortable and make us fearful. And you ended by stating the consequences, that silence delays truth and is expensive. You presented your speech very calmly, you spoke very clearly, and you had you shined with beautiful expressions such as silence delays the truth. Now, if I may please make some recommendations. Your opening could be more captivating. For example, you could start by asking us, when was the last time that you stay silent, but you had something important to say, and then you pause for a second? That would make us think immediately, because I'm sure all of us have gone through such a situation. Then with the body, you could give a very clear example that you have either gone through yourself, so that we can, and you with the example, you bring those details and let us be with you in that moment, displaying facial expressions, for example, when you felt fear, when you felt afraid or unsafe, and you could back it up with some emotions as well. Call to action. In the end, you could actually end your speech with, the next time the room goes silent, what could be a small action you can take to invite a voice? Those are examples that you could bring up, since you asked me how did you capture it and connect with your audience. Overall, I think it was a great speech, and I'm excited to use speech number 2 from this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. An evaluation with, of course, bros and glows. And particularly, you have used examples on how Ghada could use her speech or facial expression next time. That was very precise. Thank you. Robin Stone is evaluating our third speaker, Elena Constantinou. Robin's main professional focus is leadership ethics. Thus, the theme resonates as he has experienced many situations where psychological safety was absent. Please help me welcome Robin Stone.
Thank you very much, Guerdah. And to you, Elena, your speech resonated with me, having had some of these experiences in my own life, and I could see from the reactions it resonated with many other of the audience here today. So this was actually quite an important message, a very important message. And I think you spoke with sincerity, with conviction, with candor, and yeah, we could all feel that we associated with what you were saying. But Elena, I do have to say this. This was not the speech you were going to give yesterday. And I think that you adjusted to the theme of the meeting is good. You're a very accomplished speaker, obviously, so you can pull it off. You can do it. But what you lose by doing that is the opportunity to take it to the sort of next level. And so the finer points for me were missing that I would love to see. In fact, you can really build a speech and make it into a very great speech. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what I mean. You know, when you have experience, I realized I never belonged. That's a time when you emphasize that, when you pause. One doesn't need to fill the time with a whole lot of words. One emphasizes and pauses. When you were told, you know, you don't really fit in. Wow. How many of us have heard that? You don't really fit in. It's a time to absorb. So more emphasis, more useful work on pausing, but it does imply more time to prepare. And the message, the ultimate message, the takeaway here, what if the problem is that I'm in the wrong place? Another time to reflect, pause, emphasize. I really think this was a good speech, and I'm not taking anything away from that, but I think it can be taken to an amazing level. Thank you very much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Robin. Your evaluation had grows and glows, which was good to hear. I felt as I was listening to you that you had a conversation with Elena that I was not privy to, and I'm thinking, what is it that I missed? Because you talked about something that she did the day before. I would say when we evaluate, we stay in the present moment, because then I felt a little bit left out, since you were talking about the speech that she gave before, which is not the speech that she gave today. So this is something to avoid, because as we evaluate, we want to stay in the present moment of what is happening now. I see that you have brought great growth points. Therefore, there was no need to explain what happened yesterday, because I felt left out. So that's one point to pay attention to. But thank you for your evaluation, because the points that you mentioned were up to par. They were necessary for you to mention them. Thank you. And now it is time for me. This was our last speaker, therefore our last evaluator. I would like to have the times, please, timer, if you can share the times in chat. And also, I will call on the poll. Can you launch the poll for the best effort evaluator? Thank you, timer. Is the poll closed?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes, now the poll is closed. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to call on the grammarian, Jennifer. Gosh.
Thank you, Guerdah. All right, so I've had some good usages of language. People learn from actions, not titles. When the mind is at peace, mathematical incompatibility, molecular level, the unconfrontable truth, leadership is not a checklist. Let me paint you a scenario. No news is not good news. Spoke in acronyms, fear of failure, sat next to me at dinner. Our little quirks are strengths, giving us a lens. Signature pregnant pause, singing melody, both mood and language. Silence delays the truth. I could just pick up two improper usage. Cannot see what is happening in my back could have been cannot see what is happening behind me. Not take the speaker on the face value. Not take the speaker on face value. You don't need to use the there. The room go silence. The room becomes silent. And the word of the day usage was so incredibly exciting today. Used by Veronica on chat. She used the adjective form of candor. She said candid. Ghada used it twice. Elena used it twice and once on the chat. That's 3 times. EJ used the word of the day on chat as well as after Hannah's speech. Gilda used the word of the day twice. Hannah used it once. Robin used it once. With that, I conclude my grammarian's report and hand it back to the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. A beautiful report on the grammarian role and the word of the day, and also different words that you've heard. Well done. And now it is time for my evaluation. Psychological safety. Did you know that when we take on a theme, it almost feels like the universe is going to challenge us? So today, the theme we took on was the theme of psychological safety. Therefore, because all of us want to be safe and we want everybody to feel safe, sometimes we tiptoe around what we need to say. And this is what we need to be mindful of. And that brings me to the evaluation portion. I felt today there was a lot of tiptoeing. And I understand because we are talking about psychological safety, how to be truthful while remaining safe. The tip is to speak with the first pronoun, I. I feel, I heard, I saw. That helps because what I feel, no one can come against it because it's my own. Okay, so that's the tip. I enjoyed the meeting today. I thought that everyone was very mindful of each other. It almost felt like we were courting one another, and it felt good. I really loved it. I love that from the start, when I came on, I was greeted And our greeter, EJ, was beautiful in welcoming everyone. And she even sang to someone today because it's their birthday. And I thought, oh, that's a tough act to follow because I don't sing and you don't want me to sing for you. So she did very well. The Toastmaster of the day also took on the role with aplomb. Well done, Holmes. Veronica, when it was her turn, did also very well. Our timer, Jyoti, was on point, and we didn't even have to ask her to share the time. A lot of times she did it by herself, and it was right on time. Well done. Evaluators, I know you care for your speakers, and it showed today. And I know we do the work that we are asked to do here in Leadership Speak to connect with our speaker. And I can tell you that it also shows when you did not have the time to do so. So just be mindful of that. Presenters spoke with candor. I learned a lot with your presentations. All in all, I felt that everyone who had a role in this meeting delivered brilliantly. Does that mean that we are perfect and there's nothing to do? No, that's not what it means. It means that today we showed up the best we knew how to show up. And this is part of psychological safety. When we know that we show up the best we know how to show up, we show up with care, we speak with candor, and also with finesse, because we know that the other person that we are speaking to, we learn to take care of them as well. That's what psychological safety is. So I think today we did that beautifully. It has been my pleasure to be your general evaluator. If you don't know that now, I will let you know that it is, for me, general evaluator is a very nice role. I like that because I like to observe people and what they do and also listen. So for me, I enjoy this role. And having said all of this, I want to thank you all. And I will now return the control back to our Toastmaster of the day, Holmes Teng.
Thank you so much, Deepti and Guerdah. With the general evaluation section completed, I'd like to invite the thought of the day, Marie Cuisine, to share some concluding food for thought as we go towards concluding this team. Marie is working in healthcare, and psychological safety, she describes, isn't a soft skill. It's a critical competency that separates good clinical leaders from great ones. Let us hear from Marie.
Today, we explore leadership on psychological safety. As this meeting comes to an end, the speaker's personal stories make me think about the following questions. What leadership legacy do we, each of us, want to leave? Will we be remembered for our achievements or for how we made others feel? For our decision or for the environment we created? I believe I believe the greatest legacy as a leader can leave is a culture of psychology safety, where candor thrives. Imagine imagine being remembered as someone who made it safe to speak up, to take risks, to be authentic. Imagine teams that continue to operate with courage and honesty long after you're gone. That is the legacy of leaders who understand that psychology safety is not a soft approach, it's strategic. It's not a nice to have, it's essential. Leadership and psychological safety. Back to Toastmaster of the Day, our president.
Thank you so much, Marie. Next, we have all voted for our best effort speaker and best effort evaluator. Let's find out who they are. I'd like to invite the PR master to share his post and the results. And the best effort. Okay, the screen is coming up. Best effort speaker is Elena Constantinou. Congratulations. And our best effort evaluator is Mando. Could you go to the next slide, please? There might be a technical issue. Yes, the next slide, please. Thank you so much. The best effort evaluator is Sonia Matt. Thank you so much to the both of you. Proud of you. And congratulations. Thank you, Mamado. I'll switch my hat from the TMOD to the club president. Now is one of the moments I'd like to invite guests to share some of your comments for this meeting. I'd like to start with Khalid Wahid. Khalid Wahid, are you available to speak? Khalid?
Yes, I can.
Is it convenient for you to also switch on your camera?
Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you, Khalid. Is it convenient for you to turn on your camera also?
Yeah, one moment. Right. Can you hear me? Can you see me now?
Loud and clear, and can see you clearly. Thank you so much for
that's
being
good.
here. Share with us some of your comments for the meeting.
I'm already a member of two of the clubs. I have passed level 2, but attending this meeting in this club was a really super amazing experience. And I learned a lot. And I liked your Candor environment, which really helped me. And I'm just looking forward to complete my level 3 and join your club so that I can also deliver speech and learn from your experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Khalid. I'll connect with you separately after the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let me call on some of the other guests. Helene Yao. Helene Yao, are you available to speak?
Yes, yes, I am.
Hi, Helene.
Hi.
Welcome to the meeting.
Thank you.
How do you find the meeting, Helene?
Oh, I joined the meeting at the last minute, so I can say, as usual, you have been having good meetings, and I had a meeting myself with my club this afternoon from 12 to 2. And when we finished, I managed to join and see if I can have something. So this is what I did, because I know that all the time we are having outstanding meetings. So I just come in to learn and to improve my English. Why not? Since I'm coming from the French-speaking country, so it's something for me to improve my English, listening, and also do whatever I can do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helene, for making time for us. We welcome you to visit anytime you're available. Thank you so much, Helene.
You're welcome.
Lisata, are you available to speak? Lisata? I'll move on. Tariro, are you available to speak?
Oh yeah, I am. Thank you so much. Am I
Tariro,
audible?
Yes, I can hear you. Is it convenient for you to also turn on your camera?
Okay, let me try to do that.
Let's see. Hey, hi, Tariro. I can see you clearly. I can hear you loud and clear. Share with us some of your comments for the meeting.
Well, I really enjoyed the session. Thank you so much for the invite and also for allowing me the opportunity to just join the interview. I mean, not the interview. I'm not saying the interview, but I mean the session. I really learned a lot, and I'm really, really looking forward to also becoming part of the Leaders Speak Toastmasters Club. And I'm still a new member, and one of the members just allowed me the opportunity to just come and join and see how things are done at the higher level. And I'm so grateful. I think it's also one of the things that I'm now working towards. And I'm now working, I think that's now one of the things that I'm now putting on my bucket list, just maybe work towards reaching the level.
I think Tariro may have dropped off. But nevertheless, I think she was almost done with the comments. Thank you so much, Tariro. Last but not least, I'd like to invite one more, Kadisha. Technically not a guest anymore because Kadisha has applied to the club and the executive committee has already approved for her to join as a club. So there's just some administrative affairs remaining. Kadisha, share with us some of your comments.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Holmes, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I just experienced another wonderful meeting at Leadership Speak. And it's a very timely meeting for me because I've stepped into numerous leadership roles at the start of the Toastmasters year and even quite as early as, I think we're in January still, yes, earlier this year at my place of worship. So I'm really thankful for this alignment and for this opportunity to learn more about leadership. And as Nelly said, leadership is not only about guidance, but also helping to make others feel safe. Most of the speakers said that today as they defined psychological safety. So thank you so much. So many great takeaways. And I also liked our last speaker's point about if one shrinks themselves, it can get exhausting. And I think about it similar to holding one's breath. You can only do it for so long. So thank you so much for all the shares and the learning on today. And I look forward to joining the club and also sharing my experiences. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kadisha. I look forward to when we complete all the administration and formally welcoming you as a member. I'll switch back to my hat as TMOD. As TMOD, thank you everyone for attending this meeting. It is my pleasure to host every single one of you be it as a member or as a guest. If you are a guest, do know that you are always welcome to visit us. Our meetings are always available for you and we welcome you. With that, I'd like to close off this chapter meeting. For members and guests who still have time, you are welcome to stay with us in the post-meeting discussion. Thank you so much. Zoom Master and Zoom Host, can I request the recording as well as the live streaming to stop? Thank you so much.